Welcome to the Wisdom of 21 Winning Women and Their Lessons. My name is Reverend Joy Dore, and I'll be your host today. The purpose of this summit is to empower, to inspire, educate women by showcasing the diverse experiences and wisdom of 21 accomplished women who have achieved success in their respective fields. The summit aims to create a platform for collaboration, learning, and networking, fostering a supportive community for women striving for excellence. Lastly, help women embrace their winning moments, regardless of how small or big, towards a successful and fulfilling life. And this time we are looking to empower, excel, embrace, and elevate. And hey, here in the studio today, oh my God, the best part. Here in the studio today, we have Cheryl Meyer. Yes, she has a BA from UC-Berkeley and a health coach. That's the best part for me. And she's an award-winning author, health coach, teacher, podcast, and speaker. And hey, I don't want to take you guys' time because the few times I spent with my expert today, is just like fire. So I'm just going to let her introduce herself, tell us all about herself, her journey, and just, get you guys mind blown like she did when I had a short time with her in the past. And even the posts she make every day, she just been, I'm telling you, she inspired me a lot. She just do so much that really triggered the best part of my life. And I am so privileged to introduce her to you today and looking forward to just take all that she has. So get your pen, get your paper, and let's get this, our coach going on this health that she has figured out that is helping her and helping many others. So, coach, take it away.
Okay, my name is Cheryl Meyer. I am otherwise known as the Health Muse. And why am I the Health Muse? Because I want to inspire you to clean up your habits and to adopt all the healthy habits. And I'm going to start off by telling you, I just had my 75th birthday and I did not grow old. I have aged and I am in the best time of my life. And a large portion of that is because I completely lost my health and I have regained it. So the wisdom I want to share with you is because I want to inspire you to live your best life like I am now. So let me go back a little bit. I spent my life in jewelry and in retail, and I finally jumped off the cliff and started my own business. And I was doing product development for all the big retailers, for Macy's, for JCPenney, for Amazon, for Kohl's. And I loved what I was doing, but I was doing everything to make my business successful except take care of me. And I have a joke, when the universe wants to give me a message, first I get the little poke in the arm. If I ignore it, then I get the NCIS slap. And if I still ignore it, the 2x4 comes down. Well, I ignored all the signs. They went past my brain with the speed of light. I was flying back and forth to Asia to do manufacturing. I lived in Los Angeles. When I came home, I was flying back and forth to the East Coast. I was eating on the fly. I was eating only ultra-processed food. I was eating as fast when I got home as I was working all day. I was doing everything to be successful except take care of me. And when the 2x4 came down, I literally couldn't get out of bed because everything in my body hurt. Every muscle, every joint. At first I thought, do I have the flu? But after 5 days, it wasn't getting any better. So I started going to my conventional doctor for testing. We ran 4 rounds of testing and she called me and said, guess what? There's nothing wrong with you. I said, guess what? That's ludicrous. Something has happened to my body and I literally bankrupted my body. I cannot function. I had a great staff that was well trained. They kept my business going. And I said, you know what? I'm going to dig in and I'm going to find it. It didn't even have a clue what I was looking for. And I think I had an angel's hand on my back because I dropped into what's known as the functional medicine community, where they were running 19 symposiums and with all multiple doctors. And what first caught my attention was they all went for additional training because they got sick and couldn't help themselves, or they had a loved one that got sick and they couldn't help them. So I listened to all 19 symposiums and I made notes. One of the notes was I was eating all the wrong food. GMO had been on the ballot in California. I had no clue what it was, and it lost because there was so much misinformation. So we were all eating the wrong food, and that was giving me nothing to fuel my body or my brain on. But then I started writing things down like I probably had toxic load. What the heck was that? I've been very sensitive to chemicals my whole life. I was born in Pittsburgh. I popped out allergic to Pittsburgh. So I figured I probably had toxic load. So I started digging into what was that. I probably had something called leaky gut. Well, the seat of our health is our gut. And if we have leaky gut, then that's what creates inflammation, which is what creates autoimmune disease. And although it took me 5 years to find out what I really had was fibromyalgia, I started doing all the things and put all the building blocks into place to come back to health, even though I had no clue what was wrong with me. It took me 5 years. I changed how I ate completely to eating the rainbow of all the colors of organic food, which gave me all there's things in food called phytonutrients, and the colors designate what they are. They're not there for us, they're there for the plant, but they have gifts for our body. They can kill cancer cells, they can make us more cognizant. Each phytonutrient has a different gift, and they're really amazing, and they come from the rainbow. So when you start eating the rainbow and you start to cook and control what you're putting into your body, you get the advantage of all those incredible miracle chemicals that are in the food. So that's where I started. Then there's a huge database in the sky called ewg.org. And I started looking up every single product that I used to find out, was it toxic? I was shocked. First thing I looked up was my makeup. It was a 10 on a 10-point scale. I literally was poisoning my body right through my skin. So then I started researching, okay, I'm not going to use this. What am I going to use instead? And I would dig in until I would find a product that was very low in toxins that I could use in replacement. By the time I was done in 5 years, I had replaced all my cosmetics, all my personal care products, all my cleaning products. No more perfume. Did you know that perfumes literally poison you, not only through your skin, but through your lungs? There's a new perfume that just came out, by the way, by Michelle Pfeiffer, because she was sick of being poisoned by her scents. So she went to France to see if she could find somebody to make her a non-toxic fragrance, and they wouldn't even tell her what they put in their fragrance. So she created her own, and they are fabulous. It's called Henry Rose. So I'm wearing a vanilla Henry Rose perfume. I love it. And I can wear cologne again, and it doesn't bother my health. It's fabulous. But I replaced everything. I put air filters in my house because I lived in Los Angeles. And what I read was the air inside my house was probably 80 times worse than the air outside my house, which, since I lived in LA and the smog, was pretty frightening. But everything changed. My entire environment changed. I had so much stress when I had my own business that I had no cortisol left in my body. I had used it all up. And I was borderline Addison's disease. So I started taking stress exercises, and I did a Tao, which is a Korean form of yoga, which doesn't tie you into a pretzel like some yogas do, but it's all, you balance, you pound on your gut so that you get your vagal nerve to send all the right signals to your brain. It was a very relaxing yoga. And that helped me bring my cortisol back up so that my stress level came down. And stress interrupts every single organ in your body. So it started with food. I then started eliminating toxins. And then the third thing I did was learn how to control my stress. And to this day, I do a breathing exercise from Dr. Andrew Weil, who is the father of integrative medicine, and you can look him right up on YouTube and learn to breathe with him. And it's called the 4-7-8 breath. You breathe in for 4, you hold it for 7, and then you put your tongue up against your teeth and you whoosh it out to the count of 8. And you do 4 rounds of that, and it resets your parasympathetic nervous system, which takes the top off your stress so that it no longer interrupts your body. I know it works because when I did find my own functional doctor, it took me an hour to get there in LA traffic. So I would get there and my blood pressure would be sky high and my pulse would be racing. And I started doing this breathing exercise in LA traffic, and I had the best pulse and the best blood pressure of any patient she ever had, because it works that well. And for me, it helped me rebuild my cortisol to come back to health. I have decided that health is balance. And so I have 20 pillars of health. You're not going to do them all at once. You're going to take them on one at a time and learn how they make your body feel as you implement them. And the more you put my 20 pillars of health into place, the better you feel and the happier you are. So the first book I wrote was called It Feels Good to Feel Good. Because now that I feel good, and I have felt good now for 11 years, there is no way I'm giving it up. This is how I'm going to live the rest of my life, which is why I say I'm not old, I'm just aging. And I plan to go through the rest of my life feeling just as good as I do today. The thing that they don't tell us is that we control our health. We don't need anybody's permission to add lifestyle habits to our routine. And although I am not anti-drug, and I still am taking a few, drugs don't cure anything, they mitigate symptoms. So while you start to take the drugs that whoever you're seeing as your healthcare practitioner wants you to take, by all means, follow their advice. But at the same time, start to adopt my 20 pillars of health, because they'll help you heal from the inside out so that eventually you won't even need that drug. And the problem with drugs is, as wonderful as they are, they all cause additional problems. So you start having to take a drug to take the drug. They put me on statins for 3 days. I hurt so bad in the middle of the night, I was popping up to take Tylenol because I couldn't sleep. Everything hurt again, like I had fibromyalgia all over again. And it ends up my body can't handle the statins. Well, I've controlled my blood pressure without the statins. I do it because I move, which is an important pillar of health, which releases all your endorphins and lowers your blood pressure. I do it with my food, which releases all my happy hormones, which releases my blood pressure. There are natural ways to do what the drugs will do for you. So you don't, if you can handle the statin, you might take it for a while, but then you wean yourself off of it because you no longer need it because you've added all the lifestyle habits in. The biggest advantage of all my lifestyle habits, which include getting 7 hours of sleep at night, which is important because it sweeps all the plaque out of your brain that last hour so you don't get dementia. And being 75, I plan to keep my brain intact. Each pillar has a purpose, but what they all do together is they turn on your happy hormones. Your vagal nerve is in your gut, and it picks up the phytonutrients and carries them to all your organs in the body. It goes over to your liver, which clears all the toxins out of your body, and it picks up the toxins and takes them out of your body. You need those phytonutrients, and you need the beautiful fiber that comes from eating real foods. And ultra-processed food has no fiber left in it at all. It's all been removed, and it's all chemicals, and there's nothing real about it. So you're the most sophisticated computer that ever lived. Do you want to feed it garbage, or do you want to feed it all those lush, beautiful phytonutrients and fiber that make your body run all the way down to the mitochondria, which is the little motor inside your cells, and you want to release all those happy hormones, your dopamine, your serotonin, your GABA. We have several of them. But one reason I think we're having a problem with depression in this country is because we're eating the wrong food that, instead of turning on our happy hormones, is dampening them down and making us depressed. So the solution is to get yourself back to balance and happiness and live a happy life. Endorphins make you happy. That comes from movement. Insulin, you've got to get it stable. I was diabetic. I am no longer diabetic. They'll tell you you can't cure diabetes. Baloney. I've gone out the bottom. My doctor swears I'm aging backwards. If you eat the way that I recommend, and you cook and you get all those beautiful phytonutrients, your body comes back into balance. So your insulin comes back into balance. Insulin impacts every organ in your body, and it also makes your moods wild. One minute you'll be happy, the next minute you'll be taking your husband's head off because you're upset about something. By eating the right food and evening out your insulin, you're a heck of a lot more fun to be around. Your staff will appreciate you. Your boss, if you have one, will appreciate you. Your customers will want to be around you. The benefits of gaining back your health are too many to list. But the best part is you start to live your best life. And at 75, I am living my best life. I am so happy. I have a man who I found to go on a get well journey with me because the guy I was with didn't want to. So he had to go. So I advertised for somebody to go on a get well journey with me on a national website, dating site. And he lived 10 minutes away from me and answered my ad. And the first thing he said to me is, if you give me a chance, I need to go on a get well journey with you. So I'd love to do it with you. But I'm also probably the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And guess what? He was. So I married him 8 years ago. He is my perfect soulmate. He is a statistician. He is brilliant on anything computer. He did all the editing of all my books. I now have several books. He did all the editing. He did all of the editing of all my podcasts and all the production. And he reads, I read, and at night we get together and we share all the different things we've learned because we add to each other's knowledge. And we're both on a health journey, and we're both feeling better than we've ever felt in our life. He lost 80 pounds doing this. I lost 65, and neither one of us dieted. We did it by living the good life and eating real food. There's a couple of other things about eating real food that I had no idea about. I had been heavy my whole life. I tried every New York Times diet book that came on the market, and I never did them thinking I was going to do them forever. I was going to do them and lose the weight, and then I was going to go back to eating all that ultra-processed food. Well, what I didn't know was that turned off my hunger hormones. I didn't even know I had them. They're called leptin and ghrelin. So I would eat a Thanksgiving dinner. I'd be stuffed to the gills, and I'd be in the kitchen picking on the pumpkin pie going, how could I still be hungry? I just ate that huge meal. Well, the ultra-processed food had dampened down my leptin and my ghrelin, so my brain wasn't getting the signal that I was full and to stop eating. When you stop eating the chemicals and the sugar in processed food and all the bad seed oils that are in that food, and you start eating real food with real fiber and real phytonutrients and essential nutrients, all your hormones turn back on. So you now are not hungry all the time. That big bag of cookies no longer calls my name from the kitchen. And if I do decide to eat one, I can just eat one and walk away because I don't care, because that satisfies me. And when you start eating real food, you get all your taste buds back because that food has dampened those down too. They put so many chemicals in to make their icky chemicals taste good. You don't get real taste buds that taste just how good a cucumber tastes. I have clients that'll go to a farmer's market and call me and go, I just ate a slice of cucumber and oh my God, is it delicious? I had no idea. Because when you get back your taste buds, you start to realize just how great all this real food really tastes. And we've gotten too far away from that. So there are so many advantages of following what I want you to discover. I don't want to teach you. I want you to discover it with me because I want to influence and inspire you to be as healthy and as happy and joyous as I am. So I consider myself to be the original example to give you a why as to why you should do what I'm suggesting and discover just how great you can feel as well.
Wow. Oh, Hmm. I don't know. This is just, it's huge. And I'm so happy to have you. And I know our audience are just like, oh my God, this is like, whoo, what a good health, and looking at your age, as you said, trust me, that's even the best part. At least when people look at you, they don't see 75, right? We don't see that. We see, as you say, aging backward. And what other way to explain what you're doing than just looking it? That's how I see it.
Right.
You look it. So when you talk it, it's like matching your look with the talk. So anyway, that is going to bring me to a question though that I'm going to ask you for, people watching now, they might like, okay, I want specific, which is like this. How do you approach helping individuals? Like somebody watching now wanna like, okay, like this, how do you approach helping individuals to eliminate the toxins in their life, teach them how to eat the rainbow, and what unique strategies or techniques do you find most effective in your coaching practice?
Okay, I'm going to start with the fact that I published a magazine this last spring, and it's called Feeling Good. It ended up being way too long. I had hoped to be able to print it and put it on every functional and naturopath's lobby, but it ended up costing $50 just to print it. But it's available in a digital form, and it is jam-packed with a variety of different routes to health.
Oh.
Health is a journey. It is not a destination. Somebody just asked me, are you really as healthy as you say you are? I still have issues. I'm still looking for puzzle pieces, but I will challenge anybody to tell me they feel as happy as I do. I've come so far, and I don't have pain anymore. Everything hurt when I got sick. So am I as healthy as I say? I still am on my journey. I got molded in my jewelry office before I left it, and it's in my lymph system. And the lymph system is something that has no medication for it. So I have, and so most conventional doctors know nothing about it. So I have been researching the lymph system. I do a manual lymph massage every day. I am determined that that puzzle piece is going to come into place so that that one goes away too. So it's a journey, but the magazine starts off with my journey, with why I became a health coach. I was having conversations at the grocery store, at the dental office, and I decided I was going to sell my jewelry business. And at 67, I went back to school because my BA in English from Berkeley doesn't give me any credence for everything I had learned about health and kept in file folders on my computer. So I went back to get the credential from IIN, and then I hung up my shingle, just like on Snoopy, that the Health Muse was in, and you could now come to me and start to learn with me. In the 10 years that I've been doing this now, I have 130 podcasts that are on YouTube. I stopped doing the podcast so I could do the magazine because all this stuff is time consuming. But you can go either listen to one half, which are deep dives into different subjects about health. I did 3 podcasts on the liver because I had a fatty liver when I got sick. So I tell you what the purpose of the liver was. I had no idea it was the workhorse of the body. I tell you how to eat to make it healthy, because if you have an unhealthy liver, it impacts every organ in your body, and it's the #1 cause of heart disease. And then I tell you what supplements you can take so that you support the process of healing your liver. And that's 3 hours of podcasts that are available on YouTube. I did that on sleep. I did that on toxic relationships. I did that on eliminating toxins in your life. So there's a bank of knowledge where you can discover things that are important for your health. The other half of my podcast is called Tell Me Your Story. Before COVID, when I first started speaking, people would come up to me and say, it's all fine and well that you did it, but I can't do it. I got a bad deck of cards when I got my genetics. And believe it or not, they've discovered that no matter what you have in your genetics, you have the option of turning that switch on or leaving it off by your lifestyle habits. So it doesn't matter if you got cancer in your genetics. If it's running in your family, it's because lifestyle habits run in your family. It's not because you got that in your genetics. So don't let anybody take your power away, because you have the power to turn your health around no matter what cards you got when you were born. So The magazine goes through, I talk about my functional doctor. She wrote an article about why she loves practicing functional medicine, the difference between a functional doctor and a conventional doctor is they look at the entire body. They won't look at you and say, you have an unhealthy liver, because they understand that liver is the #1 cause of heart disease, and that an unhealthy liver destroys your kidneys, and that it destroys your colon and your ability to function properly. And they understand how important your gut is, and that everything going on in your body impacts your gut. So a functional doctor looks at everything. My functional doctor even ran totally different tests from my conventional doctor, because she wanted to know what the root cause of what was going on in my body was. So she ran, like thyroid, conventional ran from here to here, from my pituitary to my thyroid. Functional ran that, and also what happened from here to my adrenals, which is where I was broken. They go deep, because I want to understand the root cause of everything going on in your body. So if you want to find a functional doctor, you can go to a place called ifm.org, put in your zip code, and anybody who's been functionally trained pops up. And it is so refreshing to go see her, because #1, I do a lot of research, so I go in all ready to share things with her. She's excited for me to come because she's all ready to share new things with me. And together we're a collaboration to get me back to balance and to form health. So she has an article. Then I hired a naturopath to help me get rid of the mold in my lymph, because since she was conventionally trained, and there's no drug for the lymph system, we weren't getting anywhere with my lymph system. Well, I'm going to find that puzzle piece, and I don't care what I have to do it. So I've been on his podcast twice, and I hired him, and we're taking a totally new approach to evict the mold from my lymph system. So I'm learning from him, and he wrote an article for me in the magazine about what a naturopath does, because there may be things happening in your body that you should have a naturopath for. He also does his own line of supplements that will support your body. And I did actually write an article as well on what is a health coach? What is it that I do, and why would you need me? What you do is you pick your health goals, and I hold you accountable to them. And the good thing about me as a health coach is that I've been through it. So as you're going through it and you're being held accountable, I can make all kinds of suggestions and send you all kinds of resources, because I want you to win, because I won, and I want everybody to feel this good. So that's the joy of working with me as a health coach. There are 3 articles on how to evict the toxins from your life. I found a woman who made a cleaning product that is a 1 on the EWG scale. I use it to clean my dishes, my laundry, my floors, my toilets, because one of the things that happened when I was researching to get well myself is I lost all 3 of my kitties. And it occurred to me they're living in a toxic soup as well. So I don't want them walking on poison. I don't want them drinking from the toilet and drinking poison. So I use this product, which is called Branch Basics. She created it because she lived in the country in Texas, and her son got doused with herbicides and pesticides and went from being a very active, very intelligent little boy to them telling her he would never even graduate from high school. She found that unacceptable. She went back to school, learned how to cook organic food, started eliminating all the toxins in their house, figured out that even if she wasn't using them, they were off-gassing, which was making him sick, so that he was sleeping outside on the porch because he couldn't tolerate being in the house. And it took her a long time to clean everything up, but he ended up going to the Air Force Academy and becoming an officer, and he flies jets for us now. So she talks about why she did what she did, why she created a healthy cleaning product, and how that alone, if you eliminate the off-gassing from your house, can help you regain your health. She has you put them all into a bin and get them out into the garage until you can find better products to replace them with. And her product is only one of the products she recommends. She, like me, wants everybody to be healthy. So she talks about that. And then she talks about a course that she just developed called Toss the Toxins. that's not expensive that you can take. That's a very systematic way to clean up your environment. And then I wrote Be a Toxin Detective article. What I used is my process to go through and get rid of them all. So those 3 articles will help you get rid of your toxic load. There's a woman who had 2 botched back surgeries in my magazine who wrote an article, who had worse pain after her 2nd back surgery than she had before it. She ended up going to a reserve here in Sedona, close to where I now live, where she learned how to do Tai Chi and meditation and all of the natural holistic journeys to health. And today, she said her life began when she got the back pain, because that's what led her to change her mind, body, and soul to recover. So she has an article in there, and she and her partner did a movie called Love Heals that you can find on YouTube. And I cry every time I watch it. It is such a beautiful movie. I strongly recommend that you watch it. And it's advertised in my magazine. And then the last article in my magazine is by a woman who runs an organization called Chemo Buddies. She got breast cancer, and she had a buddy that helped her get through. So she has started a worldwide organization for anybody who needs support with any kind of cancer. And the article that she wrote is on the power of community. Wow. Community is number 1 for health. If you're hanging out with people who don't want to get healthy and happy like you do, they'll bring you down. So community, you need to have people who are as committed to where you're going as you do. That's why I went looking for somebody to go on a get well journey with me. Now, what I discovered is in the beginning, my friends all thought I was nuts. I was swimming upstream. They didn't understand why I was changing. But what happened was, over time, they all moved towards me. So I didn't have to go looking for new friends. They saw how great John and I looked. They saw how much weight we were losing. And I would have them over for dinner, and they would sit there and go, wow, this is healthy. This is delicious. Just because I cook healthy doesn't mean we're deprived. So you need to make sure that your friends and your support system and your family will eventually move towards you, because that supports the process of your journey to health. So you can get a copy of this magazine for free online and read it digitally. It's in a flip book by going to my website, which is, again, cherylmhealthmuse, all one word.com. And right on the front page, you can go to another click, and zip, you're at my magazine. And it is loaded with tremendous information to get you started on your journey. Then I have classes. I teach you how to ditch the standard American diet, how to get over the addiction to chemicals and sugar. And people in the beginning go, I'm going to know all this. I don't need this class. I don't want to give this stuff up. I want to eat sugar. It's calling my name. At the end of 4 weeks, everybody has started to feel better. And they've all started to not care about the sugar and the stuff anymore. And they've discovered just how good food is. So they call me from the grocery store, and they'll go, can I eat this? And we'll take a picture of the label and send it to me. No, you can't eat that. And you know that. That's why you called me. Put that back on the shelf. And then they go, yeah, I guess I really did know. And then they go and they buy the vegetables and the things that they need to cook so that they continue to feel good. Because once you start to feel great, you don't want to give it up. I am about to introduce a membership on Facebook for a course that I've written called Food Quality Matters. And it's everything you ever wanted to know about food but didn't know who to ask. Why is it important to eat organic? What are the chemicals they're spraying on your food, which is why you don't want to be poisoned when you eat that food? How do you buy food that's healthy if you're living in the middle of Nebraska in the winter? I give resources. I talk about how to do things, what a CSA is, where you actually support a farm up front, and then you get a box of their goodies every week once they're back in harvest. There's all different ways to find great food. I talk about, if you want to be vegan, how do you get enough protein to keep your body running? I talk about how to save money in your budget so that you can afford it. I talk about how to store food. Do you store it on the counter? Do you store it on the middle shelf in the refrigerator or in the crisper drawer? When do you store it on the door? And what do and don't you store it by? And then I get into each individual fruit and vegetable, and I tell you what the goodies are that the fruit offers you, how to pick it, how to store it, what the essential nutrients are in it, what the phytonutrients are in it, and what it means. So you get like an A to Z breakdown of everything that you're going to be eating that's real food. And I'm somebody who needs to understand why it's important for me to do something. So by understanding that so many nutrients are on the skin of an apple that I don't want to peel it, then I'm more likely to follow that. So I want to explain all that to you because I got so passionate about food. I have dug in like you can't believe doing research, and I now want to share it all. So once we get through all the fruits and vegetables, I go into the essential nutrients. Why do you need magnesium? Because it runs 350 different functions in your body. But does it work all by itself? No, it needs vitamin D. So you take vitamin D when you take your magnesium. So they get together and they party and they create health in you. And I go through all of the essential nutrients, which are different than the phytonutrients. The phytonutrients are these things the plants make to keep animals and bugs and things away from them that are gifts for us. So it's the whole everything literally that you ever wanted to know about food. And I rolled it out once and it was overwhelming for my people. So I'm now going to roll it out in 30-minute videos, and you'll be able to watch the video through the week, and then you're going to have a ask me questions section every week, so that if you have any confusion or you want to understand how the pieces fit together, I'm going to be available. So that's about to roll out. I have written a class on cultivating happiness, because by doing all these things and adopting all these healthy habits, you come back into balance. So your happy hormones come back into balance. And I'm scared that 47% of our teenagers want to commit suicide. So I wrote it for a nonprofit back in California, where I just moved from, because I want their kids to know the joy of being happy too. And it's not just the food, it's getting 7 hours of sleep, it's moving, which releases your endorphins, but it's also practicing gratitude every day, which releases all those happy hormones. It's being kind to everybody you come in contact with, which releases all those happy hormones. It's smiling. Just the action of your mouth going up signals your brain to release happy hormones, even if you're faking it. It's laughing, because it's impossible not to laugh when somebody else is. And that all triggers your happy hormones. And then my big discovery this year are glimmers. Glimmers are things that we all have every day. But the key is to acknowledge them and then feel the glow. A glimmer could be a rainbow that you see out your car window. It could be your husband coming and giving you a peck on the cheek and telling him how much he loves you. It could be your kitty coming and snuggling with you while you're working in the middle of the day. The key is that we have these moments all the time. And by sitting with them and saying, whoa, that was a glimmer. And I love to point them out to John, my hubby. We share them with each other all day long. That releases all your happy hormones. And you literally start to feel the glow that you just had that experience. So I go through all of that because it's important. And I want you to be as happy as I am. And then I have just started writing a class just on toxins, because I'm going to get back to my roots, that toxic load takes you out of balance. And I want people to understand how important it is. In the beginning, people said to me, toxins are boring. I don't want to hear about them. So I wrote my first book when I graduated from coaching school, and it's all about my process of eliminating toxins. And since I was designing jewelry, I had an artist team. So I created a bunch of little veggie characters that are throughout my book to make you smile while you read it. I'm the broccoli because of my curly hair. My husband is the carrot, but then I have friends who are on this journey with me, and each chapter has a different character that talks about what toxin I'm going to talk about, because I don't care that it's a boring subject. I want you to giggle while you're reading about how you're going to clean up your life. So that was my first book. That book has won 18 awards, by the way. And then my second book, it's available on Amazon and on Walmart.com. My second book, my functional doctor asked me to read was, okay, now you are living this life that's different from all your friends. How do you do it? How do you implement all of this? Restaurants are buying the same, excuse my language, crappy processed food that we're buying at the grocery store. And they're buying it in little baggies and they're arranging it on your plate. So I call ahead before I go out to dinner. I talk to the chef. Do you have any farm to table vegetables that you can feed me if I go there? What quality meat are you serving? Are you serving meat where the animal got to eat what he was supposed to eat? Like I only eat grass-fed, grass-finished beef because he's got two guts. He can't eat corn that's been sprayed with Bt toxin and with Roundup. He needs to eat grass because what your animal eats is what you eat. And so I talk to them. Now, when I find a good restaurant, and we just moved to Sedona, there are 15 restaurants here that are farm to table. They come out to meet me because they've gotten to know me on the phone before I even went to go there. And trust me, restaurants want your business. So don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Now, does that mean that I can go to a McDonald's and find what I want? No. So I source my restaurants like I source my food. I call them and I talk to them. And if they can feed me, then that's where I go. I went to France with friends. I translated my sensitivities, which are things that trigger my inflammation, into French. And they said, the French are no more going to cook around your idiosyncrasies than the man in the moon. So I hand my card out in the first restaurant and he comes over, speaks very little English. He goes, Madame, I am so sorry, but I'll make you something fabulous. I ate better than they did the entire trip because they were so excited that my card was in French of what I needed. They were more than happy to accommodate me. So I talk about all of that. I talk about why it's important to buy close to the farm. Spinach loses 30% of its goodies within 3 days. So when you are in the season where you can get fresh food, by all means, go to the farmer's market, talk to the farmer, learn how he got it so that he brought it to market without bugs and without poison, and then buy it because it was at a farmer's market, it got picked the day before. And so you're getting all those prime, juicy phytonutrients. So I even talk about how to get rid of bugs in your house in my second book without poison, because you don't want the poison to get rid of the bugs. And I talked to the man who's in charge of bugs for the state of New Mexico. And one of the funniest things he taught me is how to get rid of roaches. You put a little dish of beer down. They love beer and they'll go in and drown. So you don't have to be spraying some kind of toxic raid to get rid of them. You just put down a little dish of beer and they go take care of themselves. Then there's a whole chapter, there's a whole section on raising healthy children, because 54% of our kids already have chronic illness, and that is not acceptable. So I talk that it starts before you even get pregnant and how you eat and your healthy habits, because our children are being born with 293 toxic chemicals in their umbilical cord, which is why we have so many more allergies today than we used to. So it goes all the way from conception to how you need to feed them, how to get them to eat real food. It ends up that children mimic you. So if you're living a healthy lifestyle, they'll grow up living a healthy lifestyle, and you need to eat dinner with them. You need to listen to their day. You need to turn them into little superheroes that are willing to stand up for the healthy food that they're eating when they're with their friends who are not eating as healthy as they are. So I go through all that, how to grow food in your windowsill, how to take the bottoms off of things and root them so that you can grow your own food, how to throw a farm party for your kids for their birthday and make little cupcakes with coconut sugar, which is a less glycemic sugar, so that it looks like they're eating something out of dirt. It's filled with great things to get your children involved in the process of being healthy. And I met many mothers who have been very successful with the strategies I talk about. And then the last section of my second book is how to raise healthy pets. I was so disturbed that all 3 of my kitties died before their time. I dug into what were they eating? What were the toxins doing to them? What house plants can they not eat because they're poison to them? How to find a holistic vet that won't be giving them shots of vaccines that are for a Great Dane when you have a little tiny dog. There's all kinds of tips on how to raise healthy pets. And I don't know about you, but I'm crazy about my pet. So I want them to live long, healthy, and happy lives too. So those are my two books. Since then, I have put out a desktop guide on little exercises to release your stress that take 4 minutes or less, so that you can keep it on your desk. You can pull it out, pick out an exercise at 10, do it, and move on with your day. One of the big advantages of doing that is it sends blood to your brain. So suddenly you're not tired and you're way more productive. So you're going to be way more successful. And when I talk to business owners, I stress to them, you can't be great if you don't feel great. So make time for your health because it will help you build your kingdom, whatever it is. And I just wrote a book. Somebody said to me, why should I believe you about food? So I wrote a book. It's not complicated. I talk about how we got into this mess and how everybody's in on the gaslighting, whether it's big advertising, big food, big pharma, big agriculture, big universities, big healthcare. They're all in on it because the sicker we are, the more money they make. So that explains that whole beginning. Then I talk about what ultra processed food is. It's not a pretty picture, but there's a whole thing in there that explains all the ins and outs of what you're eating when you choose to make dinner from that box. And then the last chapter is very spelled out what you should be eating, right down to how you need omega-3 oils, not omega-6s, which is butter, ghee, avocado oil, olive oil, the good oils that make your brain thrive and allow your body to be lubricated and function properly. Why you eat the rainbow, what phytonutrients are, why fiber is important. So it explains everything. And when you read it, in the beginning, I thought, how could I ever do this? It's really not that complicated. You follow my little laws in the last chapter, and you too will become healthy and happy. So that's a new book that is right underneath my magazine in a digital form in a flip book. So when you're done with my magazine, go pick up the It's Not Complicated book and learn how to eat. I am constantly trying to find new ways for you to discover health because it doesn't do me any good in my head, but if I can get it out of my head and into yours, and if you can utilize it, then you'll live the life that I'm living. And that's my goal.
Yes, and that's a big goal. Like, ooh, I can't wait for my kids to join me and listen to, this has been a lot. Like,
I know it's overwhelming, and I apologize for that.
That's okay. That's powerful because I know our audience watching and really want to. This is like I want to move you from that breakdown you had to where I am right now. So you're not leaving nothing out. This is I have everything you need.
Well, and my 20 pillars of health is an article in my magazine. And just understand, be kind to you. You are not going to do it all at once. You're going to pick one. Maybe you're going to start with stress exercises. I don't really care where you start as long as you start. I start everybody on food because I consider that to be the foundation. But if you don't want to start with food and you want to start with stress, I have no problem, as long as you know you're going to get to food along the way, because to come to balance, you eventually need to adopt all 20 of them. The biggest thing I want to get into I tell people I want to be a little person living in their head. I want you to own your own health. Don't believe anybody when they tell you whatever is wrong with you, you're never going to get well, because that's a lie. I want to live in your head so that you believe in yourself enough to go find your puzzle pieces. And if you need help finding your puzzle pieces, that's my superpower. So your first hour with me is free because I want to hear what you've done. And then I am a very compassionate coach because I've been there and I want you to win. So we're going to pull out all the stops so that you can. So if you're afraid to do it on your own, or you don't think you can stay true to what your goals are, I can help you get there. But I've also created all kinds of resources so that you can own it yourself and just go out there and do it. But it starts with empowering you because you're worth it.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God. In fact, I'm just gonna say once again, thank you so much, and thank the audience who have, watched this today, because this is gonna help like a lot of people and
And
keep
it takes
helping.
16 times for somebody to hear something new before they'll
Exactly.
even begin to understand or think that maybe there's truth in it. That really upset me in the beginning. And then I decided, I don't care. I don't care if I'm the first or the 16th.
Oh, this
I
is
just want everybody to hear it, because
yes,
the next time they hear it, the blocks will come a little bit more into place. And then the
sure.
third time they hear it, then maybe they're going to start with doing some stress exercises. I don't care. I just want you to hear it so that
Yeah.
you know you have the power when you're ready to start to adopt it.
I like that part, so that you have the power when you're ready to start the process. Yes, yes. So anyway, the last question we're gonna have for you, which is just you said some of them, but just like summarize, how would people who want to do exactly what you do or doing find you or connect with you? And also tell our audience, the free gift you're giving them today that they're gonna have access for free, as they, get to know you more, right?
Yep. I have a very robust website, which is cherylmhealthmuse.com. And on there, I list my classes when I'm going to give them. My magazine is on the front page. If you go to my magazine, it'll take you to the free ebook. It's not complicated. So that's a hub where I put all my information, and I write articles in international magazines, and they're all in my blog. So it's a great place to get information in addition to the magazine and the book. The second thing is I want you to follow me on Facebook. I get up at 4 or 5 in the morning so that I can post, and I post way too much, but I want to post something that's just right for you every day. I post about gratitude every day. I post about eating the rainbow every day. I do a from my rainbow file recipe every day because I have 19 sensitivities. Nobody wants to cook like I do. I make white sauce out of cashew nuts. But I post a recipe and I tell you all the places to source the food and all of my little tips of cooking to make that rainbow recipe so that you can start to cook to start to feel good. And that's on my Facebook page. And I am Cheryl Meyer 3. So I talk about female empowerment. I talk about owning your health. Today, I talked about cultivating happiness,
Yes,
because I
yes.
want you to cultivate happiness, and how all my healthy habits I figured out because I wrote this course, how happy I am every morning when I get up. And that sort of threw me because I hadn't even been thinking about it. But I am really happy, and I want everybody to be this happy. So I wrote about that this morning. But if you follow me every day, there's going to be something to inspire you to be happy and to start to adopt all these habits that will make it so that your genetic switch stays off and you start to promote health in your body. And so that's my Facebook page, and it's great. And I announce my courses, I'll announce my membership, all of that is going to be announced on that page. But all the other information is for free. So you just have to stop by and see what the heck is it I'm talking about today that might be right for you to adopt.
Yes.
And then I have 4 books on Amazon. The fourth book, which I didn't talk about, is We Women Do Not Give Ourselves Enough Credit. So when I wrote my second book, I wrote it in a group, and it's my victory journal, because I want you to write down what your victories are every day and then practice gratitude at the same time. Somebody asked me what I had accomplished since I got sick, and I was stumped. And then when I started writing it down, I went, wow, I've really accomplished a lot, but I haven't been celebrating my victories. So I want you to celebrate your victories. It's got all my little cartoon characters in it. And it's just a journal where you write down every day what your victories were. And they could be as little as you got up and you were happy. It doesn't have to be something big, or that you ate a fresh tomato that was organic. Whatever your victories are, write them down. and then be grateful that you have that victory to shout about. So that's my fourth book that's available on Amazon. But I have 4 books on Amazon. My 2 key books are available on Walmart.com. And they're also available on my website. And then all my classes are available on my website. My Ditch the Standard American Diet class is only $129 for 5 classes because I want you to take it. And I don't want money to be the reason that you don't take it. But I have learned that if you have no skin in the game, you won't pay as much attention to it. So I want you to pay a little bit so that you do pay attention to it, so that you get everything I'm giving you out of it.
Love it.
And so, and then you can go to YouTube, you can watch all my podcasts, and you can read my blogs, which are things that I'm a top 500 contributor to the world by Brains Magazine for the articles that I've written for 76 countries. So there's some really great stuff in my blogs for you to read too.
How did they access the blog? Where?
It's on my website. It's right at the back of my website. And you can actually search it to find specific topics.
Yes, yes. Wow, wow. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that, we can give so much to our audience today. This is like, for me, is bigger than me. And I'm glad that you did this with us. So, and that will be it. And I just want to thank you once again. Let me tell you something. You made my day, and I can't wait to play this, and have ladies just watch this. And the last book, is good you remembered it, because remember, we are doing this for women who are not celebrating themselves enough. And that is just the whole thing.
And we have to. My husband tells me it's not just women that don't give themselves credit for their victories. So really it's for everybody. But women are particularly god-awful of giving themselves credit for the wonderful things that they do. So celebrate your victories every day. I have a conversation with myself in the morning every morning. I say, good morning, Cheryl, I love you. And I say it out loud because I want to hear it. Then I ask, how do I feel today? Because I'm never going back. So if my body has any complaints, I adjust immediately. Then I do gratitude. And then I give myself credit for my victories every morning. Yes. You have to do this. It's easy.
It's easy, you have to, and once you don't do it, all the negatives take over you. Let's just call it how it is. But once you get to that habit of celebrating yourself, not even anybody, you're going to celebrate others, but yourself first, then you realize gratitude is easy, winning mentality is easy. Even all that we talk about today, all that the coach have shared, is going to be easy. But
it is easy.
Yeah.
And gratitude is an action verb.
Yes.
When you're grateful, if you're grateful from somebody, for God's sakes, go tell them. Yes. If you're grateful for your child, tell them how grateful you are for them. If you're grateful for your hubby, tell him. If you have fabulous employees, don't be afraid to tell them how grateful you are for them. Gratitude is an action word, and the more you do the action, the more you pull in more to be grateful for.
Perfect. So that's it. That will bring us to the end of the interview. And don't forget, we just want to let you know that you can't afford to miss the next interview, because this is just going to be a house. As we say, we are collaborating. One of the things I heard from you that was so good is how you collaborate with all these people to bring out the best in what you do. And that is what we're trying to do here, bring many people from different background, different belief, to just put them in one thing that make them know that if you can start from the scratch and come up again, anybody can do it. And that is and that is the main purpose for this. And it starts from that gratitude. It starts from the place of finding yourself. Then now you can help find others. If you haven't found yourself, you can't find others.
And be authentic. I used to only show myself to people who knew and loved me. I am just me now. Be authentic all the time. Live in rainbow colors. I'm not the rainbow queen for nothing.
Yes, live in the rainbow colors, and we have to dig deeper into that rainbow. Who knows next time? But for now, we are calling it a time which was so special. And that will be it. Thank you so much, all our audience.
Thank you for having me. I love to talk about all of this, so thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm just saying bye-bye to everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.